Hey friends, it's Kate from the Fletcher Free Library, and I'm back to teach you how to make overnight oats. So if you remember, cooking is both math and science, so you can check those blocks for today if you do some cooking in the kitchen. So overnight oats are one of my favorites. They're sweet and creamy and really healthy. They've got great fiber, and the Greek yogurt provides a lot of protein. So I make them because I can make them for a couple days at a time and leave them in the refrigerator. So it's quick and easy, but they're delicious. They almost taste like pudding. So another thing I like about overnight oats is you don't have to cook them. Usually when you're making oatmeal, you have to cook it on the stove or in the microwave, but with overnight oats, you mix everything up, you put it in the refrigerator overnight, and in the morning, the oats have softened and gotten really creamy, and so it's almost no work at all. And there's so many variations to having different flavor overnight oats that I'll talk about later. So we're gonna gather our ingredients and the measuring stuff we need in a bowl, and then we'll get back together to get cooking. So watch out for ingredients coming up next. While we were off camera and I was gathering ingredients, I also took the time to wash my hands. So if you haven't done that yet, now would be a great time to do some hand washing. And remember, it does take a whole minute or so to get really good and sudsy and sing those songs 2 or 3 times. So don't skip the hand washing. So I've got a bowl here ready for mixing, and I'm going to start with the milk. So the milk is a wet ingredient, so that means it needs to go into a wet measure. And so I've got this measuring cup here. And if you remember from the slide, I need a 1/2 cup of milk. So I'm going to find on the side the 1/2 cup measure. Okay, it's about halfway up, that makes sense. And then I'm gonna lean down to measure. Remember, when you're measuring with wet things, you have to lean down and look across them. If you look from the top, you're not going to get an accurate measure. You're going to get too much. If I look down and I look at the number, it just doesn't work that way. You definitely have to lean down and look across. Okay, so I've got a 1/2 cup of milk. Pour it right in. I can put the milk aside. I don't need that anymore. I also need a cup of yogurt. So I'm going to use Greek yogurt because it has a lot of protein, and I'm a vegetarian, so I need a lot of protein other ways. You could also use dairy-free milk. I'm gonna do my next batch dairy-free because one of my kids is a vegan, and so he doesn't eat regular yogurt. So we need a cup, and I've got a cup I'm measuring right here. And I guess this is a spoon. No, actually I want a bigger spoon, so hold on. Okay, so let's fill up our cup. Shoop. I'm gonna fill it all the way to the top. Kind of looks like shaving cream to me. I'm gonna push it down and smooth it around. You can see how it's not rounded, it goes right to the top. And I'm gonna scrape that in there. Oh, and I have someone who's going to want to lick out my cup when I'm done. But we're going to wait till later because we don't feed the dog while we're eating. So I'll put that to the side. So I've got a cup of yogurt and a 1/2 cup of milk, but we're not there yet. we need the oats. Those are pretty important in overnight oats. So I've got a big thing of oats, and we need a half cup of oats. So here's my half cup. I'm just gonna scoop it right in, grab it. You can see it's filled to the top, and I'm gonna pour it right in. Done with the oats. So another thing that I like to add to my overnight oats is chia seeds. And they get really creamy and kind of like tapioca. So I'm going to put in a couple little spoonfuls, not too many because they do soak up a lot of liquid. Okay, 2 spoonfuls. So I've got milk, Greek yogurt, oatmeal, and this oatmeal, I guess I didn't say this, these are whole oats. There's different kinds of oatmeals. There's quick oats, which have already been cooked part way. Those will work, but whole oats taste the best. They definitely get the creamiest. And I'm into creamy overnight oats. Okay, so those are our basics. Chia seeds, if you have them, they're great. If you don't, you won't even miss them at all. I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna use a whisk. Doesn't need a lot of mixing, but I wanna get the yogurt mixed in with the oats. I'll show you how this looks in a second. It's already kind of thick. So one of the things I do in the morning when I check on my oats is I might add a little more liquid depending. I like my oats a little bit thin, but it's better to start with them thicker and add later because you can't take it away. So I'll show you what they look like. So here they are. It's not a lot to look at, but by morning they'll be creamy and delicious. You're welcome to taste it now just to see what it tastes like when the oats aren't cooked. I'm gonna taste it. The oats are really chewy. Not my favorite way to eat it. And right now there's no sweetener in here. I used plain yogurt and I haven't put any fruit in or anything else. So it's not sweet yet, but it still tastes good. Well, it's a little bit chewy. And we'll come back for the next step. So let's pretend it's the next morning and we're just taking the oats out of the refrigerator and they would be ready to eat. So the thing I do the next morning is I decide on my toppings. And usually I take my oats and I put them into different jars. So I have a bunch of little canning jars with tops, and I put overnight oats in different jars, and then I stick on my toppings. So things that I like in my overnight oats is I often slice up a banana and put some peanut butter or almond butter in there. That's delicious. Sometimes I take frozen fruit and I sprinkle it on and let it sit, and by the time I'm ready to eat it for lunch, the fruit has defrosted and the juices from the fruit I mix in with my overnight oats and it makes it sweet and creamy. Sometimes I put in a little bit of honey for sweetener. It depends on how sweet the fruit is. You might not need any extra sweeteners at all. And sometimes I use a flavored yogurt, and that way I don't need sweeteners because there's sweetener in the yogurt. There's already sugar in there. But you could do anything. Some people grate up carrots and put cinnamon and nuts. Oh, there's a million different ways. And if you start looking around on the internet, if you type in overnight oat recipe, they'll give you 1,000 recipes of different things you could try. So you could put different stuff in each cup or jar and have a different one every day. So I'd love to hear from you how things go with your overnight oats and whether you think they're as delicious as I do. I have a real sweet tooth, so anything that's creamy and sweet is top on my list. So have fun cooking, and remember, this is your math and science for the day. You're all set. Have a good one. This is for you. Okay. Thanks, Mom. Oh, that's good yogurt, huh, Bernie? Here, let me turn it. We made a big mess.